Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Raghava Rama Rama Raghava Rama Raghava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Krishna Keshava Pahi Ma 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Vishnupada Paramahamsa Priyadishakastodara Sattva Sri Saman, His Divine Grace Sirabai Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Sri Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samavata Bhakti Vrinda Ki Harinama Sankirtana Ki Antaraj Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Ki All glories to the assembled All glories to the assembled All glories to the assembled All glories to Sri Guru to Sri Gauranga All glories All glories Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Sri Surabhyaya Namaha
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 Mukam karoti vacharam pangum mangayate girim Yakripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yakripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. So yesterday and the day before we spent quite a bit of time, and it was necessary and important that we give time to the aspect of education, which is the main area of concern and focus for Brahmanas, isn't it? Brahmanas cultivate knowledge, teach knowledge, disseminate knowledge, and especially our movement, as we know, is both a cultural and educational movement meant to disseminate this Vedic knowledge. So we also discussed how within our ISKCON society, to a large extent, we've been kind of somewhat fixed, so to speak, on that level. And in the context, in the larger context of Varnasrama, we recognize, although we've not been able to act on this very much, but the other Varnas that also need to be developed. This morning I just want to give I want to do two things. The first portion of our presentation will give just a very quick and brief overview of some aspects of the Kshatriya and Vaishya. Obviously there are also major topics, major areas, and I'm presenting this just to give all of us an idea of the fact that there are specific references in our Shastra. There is, again, the point of needing, we absolutely need some devotees who will take the time, a little bit like the Goswamis of Vrindavan, right? I mean, they were assigned by Lord Chaitanya to specifically extract from our Shastra all things pertaining to bhakti, devotional service, and they did that, of course, in a very exemplary manner. So, in the context of Varnasrama, there's all kinds of information that in many ways we could say is hidden. It is there in our Shastra. I was mentioning about this Vrikshayurveda, the science of trees and herbs and plants. And it just requires that some people study this and then experiment with it. And I'm sure a lot of what is going on, for example, in permaculture, some of that may have been taken as well from some of these literatures. So we'll just give an overview of this, and then the second portion of our presentation this morning will deal with an example of how some communities in Indonesia are applying these principles. We'll be visiting one of our, through PowerPoint presentation, communities in Bali, actually. We have a number of communities at different levels of development. Again, I would like to maybe invite the devotees from this seminar and others who might be interested in getting more information. We are gradually putting some of that up on our website, and down the line we hope to also introduce some e-courses through correspondence. And gradually all of us, including here, as a matter of fact, yesterday we had some discussion with some of the devotees in regards to, starting Varnasrama College, which is one of the very important standing orders given by Srila Prabhupada. There are different sources, so coming to our presentation right now, which I gave it the title, 7 Pillars of Success. This is from the Kautilya Arthashastra. I won't go through the whole presentation, but again, we need to know that in as much as the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? Bhagavad Gita is giving us standard knowledge, unchanging knowledge, isn't it? Because it's perfect knowledge, perfect science. So in the same way, the science of monarchy, right? This is, of course, related to one of the 4 sciences we were discussing earlier, Charavidya. So this is the 3rd, right? The first one, you will recall, the science of philosophy, then the science of the Vedas. This is science of politics. So management actually means politics. Politics is a word that maybe has a little bit of a negative connotation, but politics, Krishna was the greatest politician, so it can't be that bad, right? Krishna was expert in dealing with political situations. He's expert in all fields, obviously. So politics have their place. Management, leadership, governance. So many, we could say, it's a science, isn't it? So, in the context of organizing communities, organizing society, eventually it's just like here, Almvick village. So, an important point which I've not mentioned, although Srila Prabhupada speaks about farm communities, isn't it? Like New Vrindavan, farm community, so many other farm communities. These farm communities are meant to be stepping stones towards establishing villages, isn't it? When you have a number of farms in a geographical area, then you can actually have a village. Of course, you can have a small replica of a village within a farm, but generally villages are made up of many families and over a rather wider area. There are different levels and different types of villages, of course, as well. So it is important to understand some of the basic concepts and principles. And the last portion, in addition to showing a small example of what's happening in Indonesia, I didn't have time yesterday to show this video of this TED Talk I was mentioning of, ordinary person who is having some very deep realizations regarding, why should we complicate our lives and live the way we are living today? There's a more natural and simple way to live, and it's a 15-minute video which I think devotees will appreciate. how even people who are not devotees are understanding some of these principles. So we can, who's going to be operating this? Yeah. Yeah. You are.
Can I unplug the phone?
Okay, you need to plug.
Or do I need to do something first before?
Okay, you can unplug. This is for charging them. And this is taken from the Kautilya Arthashastra. A lot of interesting information. Kautilya Arthashastra was, I guess, put in writing during Chanakya Pandit's time. And what he did is, as we often do in some of our Vaishnavacharyas, they will summarize, a little bit like Srila Prabhupada did, right? In writing his purport, Srila Prabhupada would have 6 or 7 commentaries for the most prominent Vaishnavacharyas, and he would basically extract and include that in his purport. So the Kautilya Arthashastra is an amalgamation, so to speak, of various commentaries and realizations of great teachers from the past. So it's a very authentic and important literature that deals specifically with the art of politics, or the science of politics. And again, I mean, there's really quite a bit of information there. I just wanted to touch on the first few slides that explain and how we can apply this. That's the important thing, right? How we can begin to apply some of these principles in our present situations, in our different communities, like the one here. So yes, let's go down. The science of, keep going. The science of politics. Yeah, keep going. 7, okay. These are the 7, and how they will translate, we'll come to that slide in a few seconds. The king, the minister, the kingdom, the fort, the treasury, the army, and the allies are the 7 essential constituents for the state. So that can be translated in terms of a community, a village, and as some bright young Indian business-oriented persons have done, they have, and we'll show this actually on in a few seconds, they have, they're using and following the same principles in modern day business, for example. Next. Yes. We'll skip that one because it's in French. Next. Okay, just so on the left side, what we read a few seconds will appear, and how it can be understood or transplanted, let's say, in any organization, modern day setup. You can begin. Yeah, the king means the leader of a community, whatever one may call. Second, the minister will be the manager, let's say, of a company. Yeah. The kingdom will be the market. For the fort will be the office. 5 is referring to the treasury, naturally to, as Prabhupada said, right? Yeah, the 6, the army, the team. Prabhupada said, right, 4 things are needed. Manpower, what is it? Capital.
Land.
Land, yeah. And then? Organization. Yeah. Organization, land, manpower, and capital to make anything successful. And just to give, that's also rather important. It's like, you know, like here or anywhere, if we have some land especially, well, you want to know who the neighbors are. And we should be eager to keep good relationship with the neighbors, etc. Or like here we're living in, like say, Sweden, so the government has all kinds of policies and regulations. So naturally we have to respect that, etc. like that. So, so there are all kinds of details regarding all of these 7 constituents, you know, within the Kautilya Arthashastra, and it really goes into details as well, and it's very fascinating. And many of these, actually, we should, those who are Brahminically inclined especially, should be learning these things and applying them as much as possible in our, like it can be applied in our temple management or in our community development in our different communities around the world. So we will go just this far with this presentation here because it's just meant to give you one of many references that are there in our Shastra. And I would like to go to another PowerPoint, which is in connection with another science. So that's okay, that's good. That PowerPoint, where is it? Yes, just go down to cow protection. So we've dealt with, you know, the science of Brahmanas, or the science of the Vedas, by speaking about education. We touched a little bit right now about the science of politics, or the science of Kshatriyas, and now we're just going to touch a little bit on the science of Vaishyas, which of course includes land and cows, isn't it? Krishi Varakshavanijam. This is a presentation actually made by one of our devotees who is very much active in whenever we have seminars. In India they have what is called ISKCON Leads. Anyone heard of ISKCON Leads? L-E-A-D-S. Means it's a term for leadership, something that the GBC established quite some years back. And they have very organized, systematic, quite intensive, a little bit like VIHC, I suppose, but longer. No, not longer, but it covers more subject matters. They have it for 6 weeks at 2 intervals during the year. So this is one of the presentations that was made there earlier this year. And again, we won't go through the whole presentation because it does get into a lot of details. What is important, and this is what Srila Prabhupada has taught us, and that's really very of major importance. In as much as, you know, when Prabhupada speaks, he's always quoting from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other Shastra. In a very similar way, these different sciences, knowledge in terms of Kshatriyahood, knowledge in terms of agriculture, in terms of cow protection, all of the references are there in our Shastra, isn't it? How to look after cows, how to care for calves, how to feed them, all kinds of very detailed and specific instructions. So this covers, yeah, care of calves, milking, housing means like in a goshala, feeding and breeding of cows. And of course, he gave the title Ahimsa No because we did speak on that a little bit. Ultimately, we as devotees, to show example, what Srila Prabhupada desired is that we protect cows, I mean, amongst many other things, but that's one of the essential instructions given by Srila Prabhupada. And we can understand quite easily that it's only when we become successful in actually protecting cows, means having our own cows, that we can then be in a position to offer ahimsa milk. Ahimsa milk, by definition, being that milk which is from cows that are protected by devotees. That are protected by devotees. Ahimsa milk is different from just what we call raw milk, which is, becoming popular in some places. So care of cows is of paramount importance, and this is introducing our last theme, actually, of our series, of this seminar series. The last theme being our documentary and this campaign, which I've possibly mentioned briefly, but there's a whole presentation that I will be making tomorrow on this. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow afternoon, I believe, we'll be showing to the larger, whoever might be available in the afternoon, that same video will show in the morning. To our smaller group here, we'll show tomorrow afternoon. This will bring us to the conclusion, actually, of our seminar here in terms of what can all of us do in connection, because it's, as we can see, it's, Varnasrama and all of its implications is huge. It just covers so many things, and it can be mind-boggling. It can be confusing. I mean, where do we start? How do we begin? And hopefully, this needs to be taken up, of course, by local committees or by devotees, and it needs to be an ongoing kind of. We can just go down possibly just a few slides. Just you can pass those. Those are just technical. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'd like to go to some of the references that are there. Just keep going a few more slides. Yeah. This devotee actually has visited some of our Goshalas because, yeah. Next. I just want to go to some. Yeah. Okay. Some are directly directives that are given by Srila Prabhupada, and some others, actually, you can continue, are giving references to various. Okay, well, this one is from the Kautilya's Arthashastra. This devotee made his own research. And next. Okay, from Arthashastra. I'm just quickly showing that there are different references that have to do with the care of cows, care of buffaloes. Next. This also Atharva Veda, so different. Yeah, next. I mean, some of these I've never heard of before. Brihat Parasana. There is some controversy, like in Mayapur, Goshala, and I'm sure not only Mayapur, Goshala, some of the calves were